Joker 2 was unnecessary. That's the simple 6-second Vine video explanation I could give you about the movie, but I have a lot, and I mean a lot to say about this film, and I don't have a lot of time to do so. So let's go back and talk about my history with the first movie. I absolutely adored the first Joker and think it was the best comic book movie to come out in 2019. And I know what people are saying in the comments. Brandon, Avengers Endgame came out in 2019. Endgame is a masterpiece. Endgame changed cinema. I don't care. If a movie has Fat Thor and Professor Hulk in it, it's not the best, no matter what you tell me. Hell, I loved the first Joker so much that I did a review on it, as well as becoming the man himself for Halloween. And let me just tell you, that was quite a night, and none of you will ever know why. Now, what I liked so much about the first movie was that it was a standalone character study that showed a man falling into insanity while also gaining the confidence and freedom he always wished he had. Not only that, but he also wasn't alone anymore, as he had followers. But the best part was of wondering if it ever actually happened at all. Because a lot of the movie is imagined in Arthur's head, like him being on the Murray Franklin show in his dreams, as well as having a whole relationship with his neighbor Sophie that was revealed to all be in Arthur's head. Who's to say the whole movie was all a hallucination? Who's to say Murray ever got what he freaking deserved? And who's to say Arthur ever actually became Joker? This is why I very much dislike that the sequel's existence disproves all of this. Folie Deux was made for one reason and one reason only. Money. Joker was the first R-rated movie to gross $1 billion, and obviously the greedy assholes at Warner Brothers said, screw an artist's vision and the integrity of a story that you wanted to tell. We gotta make money, baby. To be fair, I do think Joaquin and Todd Phillips did have some interest in doing this sequel, and while very, very unnecessary, they could hopefully at least make it good. Well, they have succeeded. Jean-Claude II still has the visual style of the first and is acted and shot beautifully, with Phoenix still giving a great performance and the score by Miss Hildur Guadagnatir being phenomenal once more. However, there is one thing that this sequel does that brings it down a few pegs, and that is making it a musical. Well, I understand why they did it, and I have no problems with musicals. Some of my favorite movies are musicals. What I don't like is when the music in said musicals is shit. Every single musical number is just a crappy version of an already great song, with the exception of one or two originals, and they are not sung very well. Joaquin Phoenix, the great actor that he is not the best singer in the world. And Lady Gaga, she just forgot to sing entirely. But speaking of her character, Lady Gaga plays Harley Quinn. Well, I say that in quotes because this is the furthest from the original character, and that's fine, but it's not my cup of tea. Phillips has gone on record to say that he purposely strayed away from the original source material to better fit the world of Joker, and that's totally fine. She kind of reminds me of Telltale Harley, and for this story that they're telling, she works well. While I'm not the biggest fan of Gaga's characterization, I do believe she acted her ass off and did a great job, and she and Phoenix had great chemistry together, up until the ending at least. Also, whoever was in charge of her costuming, phenomenal job. She looked great. Alright, I checked off about everything I wanted to talk about before tearing the veil and getting into... Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! If you don't want any spoilers, skip to this timestamp. You have been warned. So while I do enjoy the movie, I do personally hate the ending. I do see the vision of what Todd was trying to portray, with giving Arthur's character stages. The first stage of him being drugged up, quiet, docile in Arkham. The second stage, he stops taking his meds, starts listening to a new influence, that being Lee, and he starts becoming the Joker again. The third stage, he fully has embraced Joker again and is cocky and confident. And the final stage is him realizing something. Throughout the movie, Arthur is influenced by his love for Lee, but she manipulates him to embrace the persona of Joker because that's who she fell in love with. So she lies to him to get him to like her by saying things like her father died, her mother abused her, she burned down her apartment building, etc., etc. And when he eventually catches on, she lies again, saying she's pregnant to keep him looped in. While Lee provides Arthur with emotional and mental abuse, she's not the only one, as returning characters from the past also make him feel even more insignificant, less human, more like a monster. And he receives physical abuse from the staff at Arkham, where there's honestly a very uncomfortable scene where they sexually assault him. This is kind of the point where I knew, this movie kind of sucks, and I clocked out really at this point. Eventually Arthur gets overwhelmed, and feeling he can't be the Joker, he confesses and becomes a regular old Arthur again. He then gets dumped and killed. Yes, that's right, dumped and killed. So apparently Arthur was never going to be the real Joker, and he inspired the real Joker with his actions. I swear I've seen this before. I can't really wrap my finger around it, but this seems familiar. So for anyone wanting my 2 cents, here's a theory I saw on Twitter. And it goes like this. Lee represents the audience. She craves the delusion, the grandiosity, and the spectacle of Joker. And in turn, she tries to manipulate Arthur to be what she wants. But it doesn't work. He's not playing along, and she ends up feeling hurt and betrayed. This is exactly how the audience is reacting to the film. They wanted Folie to be just like the first movie, and Todd Phillips had something else in mind. He didn't give them what they wanted. And perhaps he's actually a genius, and this is what he planned after all. Also, last thing before I wrap this up. For anyone hating on the musical scenes just for being there, you need to realize that they are there because that's how Arthur makes himself whole and how he processes the world. The Joker sees the world as a musical. It's a way to escape his grim real world. So it's a good idea in concept. I just wish the songs didn't suck. So, has my opinion on this whole thing changed? Was Joker 2 still absolutely unnecessary?
Yeah.
Yep. I still believe that. While seeing more of this character in his world was cool, I feel that ruining the intrigue and questions asked, as well as the ending of the first one just to make a quick buck, was not worth it at all. The story being told has been done slightly better before, and I still fully believe that efforts could have been put elsewhere when it comes to the talents of all the cast and crew. The last thing DC needed was a stinker after a long line of stinkers. So if you really are craving more of Phoenix's Joker, just watch the first one again. It's a much better film overall and a much more enjoyable time.
We're made for each other, Batman.
I'm not Batman.